Today we're going to discuss the Scopes monkey trial of 1925. The Scopes monkey trial of 1925 turned America upside down. It brought into question what one thought was moral and what was science. Many believed that the two issues could not be used within the same context. Religious leaders jumped at the audacity of questioning creation as it was written in the Bible in the book of Genesis. Modernists used the idea of science to prove how humans came to be. This science was referred to as evolution. The Scopes monkey trial brought together religion and science and how the story of creation should be taught in the public schools. John Scopes, a high school science teacher in Dayton, Ohio, was accused of violating the Tennessee state law of teaching any theory that deviated from the biblical story of creation. Mr. Scopes did not do this on accident. He was persuaded by a local businessman to do this and get charged with the violation. The American Civil Liberties Union, better known as the ACLU, came in to defend Mr. Scopes. As the trial began, many preachers came to Dayton and set up revival tents along the main street in Dayton to keep the Christians riled up about what they believed was unethical teachings of creation. Mr. Darrow, the lawyer for Mr. Scopes, was able to make the prosecution look bad by calling the lead prosecution lawyer, William Jennings Bryan, to the stand. Even though Bryan had won the case, as the jury came back with a guilty verdict, which Mr. Darrow asked them to do, Mr. Darrow was able to publicly humiliate Mr. Bryan and his fundamentalist beliefs, which now have been disgraced in the court of public opinion. Headlines varied throughout the newspapers throughout the country as the trial took place. One headline from the Washington Post stated that evolution, the law, is a relic of the 16th century bigotry. The article states that Mr. Darrow's religion is tolerance and attacking the fundamentalist who he claimed was leading America back into the 16th century. Another headline from a smaller area, from the Shenandoah Herald in Woodstock, Virginia, stated, "Monkey has limelight." Within this article, there were quotes from the presiding judge who said that he approached his duties with a deep conscience. And another quote, which I believe shows the bias of the judge, stated, "If man without inspiration attempts to divulge into the mysteries of God, he finds himself overwhelmed in its perplexities." One can see by the two headlines that the Washington Post headline was trying to scare people into thinking that America was going backwards in time, whereas the Shenandoah headline was very straightforward. The Scopes monkey trial impact is still felt today. The impact at the time was that the trial led to the fundamentalists losing their broader cultural war by being publicly humiliated on a national scale. It also diminished the fundamentalist influence it previously had, but it did lay the foundation for what would come in the middle of the 20th century, the evangelical movement that gave us the likes of Billy Graham and the religious right of the 1970s and 1980s. The Scopes trial also set the stage for the fundamentalist and evangelicals to face off with their liberal counterparts over issues such as abortion, feminism, and the LGBTQ movement.